Okay, white pieces. We're just going to play e4. We're going to keep things as simple as possible. Well, I guess that's immediately gone out the window, right? Clearly, we aren't going to be keeping things as simple as possible. I believe this is known as the Duras Gambit, and I'm actually going to accept and take on f5. Because, well, number one, I'm very curious to see how this goes, and how my opponent is going to inflict as much harm on me as possible. I'm just going to develop my knight. And I'm thinking, well, I wanted to play bishop c4, but I guess the move d5, of course, stops that. We do have a check, but then I figure you just play c6. So I'm just going to develop my knight for now. Maybe I should have gone d4. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, damn, it really feels like I need to get my light squared bishop out, right? But maybe just bishop e2 is an option. It just feels very slow, doesn't it? But you know, this is a marathon, not a sprint, so I'm going to just play bishop e2, get short castled. My opponent has a very clear target, you know, like, I mean, I have a clear target on my opponent. I don't think they have, I hope they don't have a clear target. I'd be quite upset. Let's ask a question of this bishop. If they take the knight, then I just open up my dark squared bishop, okay? Yeah, I'm not really understanding that. I don't know how this could be good for my opponent. Obviously, they won their pawn back. But, like, positionally, I don't think it looks too good. Like, you have a backwards pawn. The light squares on this king's diagonal surely are quite weak. Like, I could just go c4 potentially. And if you push, well, then I just have infinite pressure on this pawn. That makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and play bishop e3. Because I do want to clamp down on this d4 square, so that when I push, my opponent can't just push, right? I think that makes some sort of sense. I hope. If not, click off the video. No, please, guys, don't click off the video just yet. That would be so bad for my audience retention, and then my dream of becoming a successful YouTuber would be stamped into the ground, like I'm hopefully going to be able to do to my opponent. Okay, interesting move. Putting some pressure on the old nighty whitey tighty fighty. Sure, we'll go with that. I'm going to play c4. We're going to lash out with c4, sort of hoping they take, and then I'm going to trade queens, and then I'm going to recapture with, like, the most amount of pressure on this diagonal any mere human has ever seen in their entire lives, which might be slightly hyperbolic, but I'm not sure. You know, I'm just simply not sure. Okay, hello there, sir. What is this? The knight has jumped in, presumably to attack my dark squared bishop. However, what if I'm just to play here? Attacking this, then how do we feel? You know, what is it I'm missing? I'm going to move my dark squared bishop, but I want it to still have some semblance of control over d4. You guys know what I'm saying, okay? But then I'm also attacking a rook, so this move feels like it does about 73 things in one. I was going to say 67, but then you'd have some strange child in the comments going 6-7, and I'd feel wildly uncomfortable. Why is everyone saying 6-7 at the moment? Is it making you guys want to rip your eyes out as well, or is that just me? It may very well just be me. I'm going to take in the centre, because that feels natural. But presumably they just recapture the pawn, and this bishop is still very, very strong, of course. Yeah, and it's not so easy for me to actually ask a question of this bishop. I mean, obviously, I'd like to go knight here in an ideal world, just like knight g5, attack the rook on f7, attack the bishop on e4, but obviously the queen would just, you know, take, so not really an option. I could potentially kick this knight back, and then if you just jump back to this square, then the queen no longer has control of g5. So I think we will go for this, because presumably you play knight to f6, and then I can jump my knight forwards, and I think I'm in a relatively good spot, right? I think. I hope, I pray. Who the hell knows, though? They might just jump back to h6, being aware of the fact that the queen guards g5, but one can't be certain. But yeah, hopefully they go back to f6. That would do me a world of wonders. Okay, they go back to e5. Interesting. So I could potentially take, and then you take. Oh, God, I'm just not overly happy about this. I'm not overly happy. I think I will take, and then maybe go bishop d3. Yeah, I kind of like this, because even if the knight takes my bishop, the pawn then hits their bishop. So presumably they're not going to have this absolute god of a bishop in the center of the board, which is kind of, the main plan here. I just want to get rid of that bishop, you know what I mean? That's the plan. Get rid of this god bishop, but they might not even trade off with me. Okay, they just hop their queen down. What is this for a move? This is very interesting. Okay. This is very interesting. This is a strange game, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I feel like maybe this is a blunder, because obviously I'm going to take this bishop, and then you're going to have to recapture with the pawn, because if you recapture with a queen, well then my rook would of course just take. So I'm going to take this bishop, then the pawn's going to take, and then I'm going to play a move like queen d5, right? Number one, I pin your rook. Number two, I hit your knight. Number three, I'd have a lot of pressure on this bishop. So let's go ahead and take the bishop. I'm not seeing any real shizer. What is wrong with me? How have I missed that? Okay, well, I still think it's fine. Oh, wait. Guys, the reason I had ruled this out is because I saw this earlier and was like, well, my bishop just takes. And then when they played it, my mind was like, oh god, how did I miss that? No, I didn't miss that. They missed that my bishop can move backwards. What on earth? How has that just happened? That's like, the sniper bishop. The bishop from Z 9006 has just sniped. Okay, well, we're going to game review this. I don't have the highest of hopes, but we can pray. Okay, so we actually didn't play all that bad, considering we're completely out of theory as soon as they played f5. I mean, I'd heard of the opening because people play it in bullet. I didn't know this was a thing in rapid chess, okay? Maybe my opponent thought they were playing bullet, but no, they weren't. So I take the pawn, which is given as the best move. They play knight to f6, and here I am meant to just play d4. I think I remember saying after I played the move knight c3, I was like, oh wait, maybe I should play d4. So it did kind of dawn on me instantly that I should just be taking the center, right? Like, it's one of those opening principles we all learn, where it's like, if you can take the center, then take the center, you know what I mean? So I was a bit annoyed at myself for playing this move knight c3, because now they can just play d5, which they do. Yeah, so this is just me being stupid. I mean, I knew I should have put a pawn in the center. Opponent goes knight f3, bishop takes on f5, so they do win their pawn back with some really good development, but I just feel like that's through like every fault of my own. That's really frustrating. Bishop e2, e6, short castles, bishop b4, a3, takes and takes. Yeah, I thought this was just great for me at this point, because you've opened up my dark square bishop for me. My rook's going to come into the center. Opponent short castles, I play rook e1, knight comes out to c6, bishop e3, bishop e4, and then I go c4. My plan is basically just to rip open the center of the board, because I feel as though I'm much more prepared for the center to open up than my opponent is. So I'm just trying to open up the center with this move c4. They play knight to g4. I didn't really understand it, just because my bishop can move to c5. It's given as a great move. Thank you very much. Rook f7. I thought was strange, right? I think maybe you should have gone to e8, because like I said, the center is going to rip open. You kind of have to prepare for that. I take, my opponent takes. I go h3. The engine wants h4. Like, honestly, the engine, me and the engine were going to fall out, okay? Knight to e5, I take, opponent takes, and then I went bishop d3. Oh my god. Oh my god, they have knight f3. What? What? Oh my god, they have knight f3. Oh my god, and then like follow it up with queen g5. Oh my god. I presume queen g5 is the move. Oh my god. This is like inherently very scary. Would I have to go to f1? I don't want to go this way. That looks really scary because of like, taking. You have so much pressure here. I think I'd have to go to f1. And then you can just take on f3. Oh god, this is terrifying. Yeah, this is very bad. I'd have to go like rook e2, because like my queen can't. Oh wait, I guess I could go over here. No, I'm getting mated. I'm getting mated if I play here. Yeah, that's why rook e2 is the move to create some space for the king. Oh my god, I completely missed this. I didn't see the move knight f3 at all. Oh my god, I can't believe I missed that completely. Knight f3 just wins the game on the spot for my opponent. What a beautiful sacrifice that. That's gorgeous, isn't it? Opponent goes queen h4, thankfully. So they take on f2. And this obviously a blunder because now my bishop can get to set. No, I'm joking. Obviously, I'm in check. We got to deal with that. We take. God, what an awful game of chess. Okay, we're going to jump into another game. Okay, black pieces, game number 2, e4, d5. We're playing a Scandi. We're just going to go and attack my opponent. That's the plan. d4 is played. Beautiful. They know the main line. This is good stuff. Are they going to go bishop d2? Nope, they go bishop c4. This is good. Okay, my opponent clearly very well versed in the mainline Scandinavian. So I'll go bishop to f5. And presumably they're going to go for this like very cheap trick of like creating a discovered attack on my queen. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to say. Yeah, I got a feeling they're going to make a discovered attack on my queen. What is that? So clearly they're putting down some pressure over here. I don't know if that is all that scary. My queen defends my bishop. So can I just bring my knight into the game? And if you were to go here, yeah, then maybe we have a slight issue. Hang on. Use your massive head, Max. Why am I not just playing c6? c6 is the move I want to play anyway, right? Because when this bishop comes out to d2, you have to play c6 to create an escape square for your queen. So I don't know why c6 wasn't just on my radar immediately. Like, this bishop is defended, so this is not a threat. The only threat was the queen taking on b7. But now it's not an issue, right? I'm safe. I've never felt so warm and snuggly. Never felt so safe in my life. I'm going to hang this light squared bishop. You guys mark my words. This queen is going to drop back, and this bishop is going to die. I can already feel it. If they go bishop d2, I need to drop my bishop back immediately, because otherwise I'm going to lose it. So I am anticipating bishop d2, bishop g6, and then a move like... I guess knight d5 would actually work. Okay, now this is interesting. Things are getting interesting, because I could take, but I could also drop back, and then you open up my H file if you take, and that looks as a bit more appealing to me. And now I also don't have to worry about my bishop being on f5, and me hanging it, which is reassuring, because chances are I probably would have hung that bishop. I'm not expecting my opponent to make this trade. I don't think this would be very good for them, opening up my H-file. I feel like then they'd have to sort of get long castled. But my queen is already over here, and it does look a little bit scary, I guess. I'm going to play e6, with the idea of if you do long castle, I'm going to get my bishop and my queen absolutely hammering down this side of the board. But maybe knight e2 for my opponent now, just keeping their options of castling open. I don't see any big threats. So presumably we're safe for now, which is reassuring. Yeah, I think long castling would be absolutely horrible for my opponent. But then it's like, prove it. You know what I mean? Like, it might be bad, but then I'd have to prove it. They do play knight e2, which is what we had sort of considered for my opponent. So I'm going to play knight to d7, sort of copying them in a sense of like... when neither me or my opponent are showing each other our hand, like we're keeping our castling options open, and now I'm going to just attack this knight. That's my plan. I'm imagining h3 is played, in which case I probably will just take, and drop my queen all the way back, potentially. I don't know. It feels very slow. Maybe I drop back to like b6, just because then at least we keep some tension in the position, right? Whoa, that doesn't look or feel right. What does that do? I might take. I'm going to take. My opponent has to take with the light square bishop, right? If they took with a queen, that would of course just hang a queen. And now I'm going to bring my other knight into the game, attacking said bishop yet again. Queen b6 feels really good at some stage, just pressuring this pawn on b2. But I would like to drop back first. Feels like I'm being very passive, but... I'm just sort of waiting to castle before it's clear what this light square bishop's doing. I might have to take it and then castle. But I don't just want to castle and then have them take my bishop, because then my pawn structure becomes insanely damaged. Yeah, and that would not be good. My opponent has been using a lot of time in this sort of early middle game, which makes sense. It's a very complicated position. They got a bishop pair, which it looks very good, right? It's very active, causing me some serious trouble. And yeah, so maybe it is actually worth me taking this light square bishop, because my light square bishop is doing a lot less than what theirs is doing, right? They are so much more active than I am. So I think getting rid of it probably benefits only me. But if they were to take... Whoa. Yeah, I feel the need to take this. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I would never lie to you guys. I do feel the need to take this. So I'm going to take it. Presumably they recapture the queen, because you don't want to double your pawns on the d-file, because then you do give me a little bit of a target. Could I even potentially play queen d8? I meant to say rook d8 immediately. The idea with rook d8 is just putting as much pressure on this pawn as possible. Maybe even like looking to play c5 or bishop down, because if you take, then my rook takes your queen, right? So putting my rook on d8 feels very natural. It's on the same file as the queen, in the center of the board, that is potentially going to be ripped open at some point soon. Yeah, not the biggest fan of this. I was looking at this move c5, but I quickly ruled it out because of b4 forking me. And you guys might be thinking, well, they could just take, but again, we'd just take the queen. So we're going to actually drop back all the way to e7 here, which is much more passive than what I would have liked, but we still do have ideas of playing c5. I should probably just get castled though, right? I should probably just get castled, but the issue with castling now is that they have the move bishop h6, threatening checkmate. So I'd potentially then have to go like knight h5 to attack the queen and then defend checkmate. But like if they were to just step forwards, I'd then have to go like g6 and we lose our rook anyway, right? So that's very uncomfortable. But I think we maybe have knight h5 immediately. Of course, the idea being we defend the g7 square, which is currently undefended. We attack the queen and we attack the bishop, so these two pieces can't combine to checkmate us. So we're going to play knight h5. That I'm just sort of trying to talk you guys through my thought process. So even when I play a stupid move, you guys go, okay, I guess we can kind of see where he's coming from. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully it's not all foreign and stupid to you guys, and I am making some semblance of sense. If I am, and you've made it this far, please do feel free to smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, presumably my opponent has to move their queen now. Luckily, the knight defends the bishop, so the queen doesn't have to move to a square to defend the bishop if it doesn't want to. You could still stay relatively active, potentially, and just step forwards, keeping pressure on g7. That's exactly what they do. Oh, things are getting interesting, actually. So takes, castles, and then, fortunately, I thought maybe they have like some discovered checks where this pawn is pinned, but they don't. The knight can't get to h6 or f6. So let's go ahead and take. And I do think that they have to take with the knight, because if you take with the queen, then I'd have bishop d6, for example, gaining a tempo on you, which looks a bit scary. Now I feel safe castling. For like the first time this game, I feel safe castling. And I also feel like that's an interesting move. That's a very interesting move. I mean, obviously, if I played bishop f6 to defend, that would just completely hang a bishop, because I wouldn't be able to recapture because the queen pins me. But g6 feels completely reasonable. g6 feels reasonable. I don't see an issue with g6 whatsoever. And your knight just presumably has to move. I mean, obviously, if the queen stays on the g-file, then it doesn't have to move, because, you know, this pawn is pinned to the king. But they do move, which I think is probably what makes the most sense. I don't know why I'm considering f5, just to sort of go on the offensive here, but it does feel a bit unnecessary. I might just push this pawn, just to try and open up the position a little bit, because like my rook here feels completely useless currently. I mean, fortunately for me, my opponent's rooks are just redundant currently. They're not doing a single thing, which fills me with a little bit of confidence. If my opponent takes this pawn, I'm going to recapture with a queen, and then maybe we have ideas of combining the rook and queen to attack the f2 pawn at some stage. But also, like, yeah, okay, so this doesn't feel very good for my opponent, because now I could potentially get a rook onto the second rank. It might be worth them bringing a rook over, just to sort of offer me a trade, so I can't do that, but I'm not sure. We shall see. If they do just play, like, I don't know, rook a to d1, I might then just play rook f to e8. God, these numbers are so confusing. You'd see me, like, visually trying to work it out on the board. Okay, that's an interesting move. So I quite like the idea of simply just backing up, right? Just getting out of harm's way from the knight and going after this pawn. I also like the idea of putting my queen on this diagonal. But I figure the bishop already defends this check, right? So it wouldn't be the end of the world if the knight did come in. So I tell you what, I am actually going to drop back to b6, keeping pressure on this diagonal, but now also going after this pawn. And if you just push, then maybe I just bring a rook over to attack this pawn. The knight does defend though, so maybe that's a bit of a one-move-itis, as the late great Daniel Naroditsky would say. That's like one of the most like important sort of lessons I took from him, was never just get stuck in one-move-itis. Like, never just play a move without looking at what the possibilities are after that move, because you would be surprised how much one move does just change the game. So my opponent clearly trying to set up some sort of attack on f6. So I could just push to sort of just nullify that completely, but then we have a really ugly backwards pawn on e6. I'm not sure it's inherently bad, me having that, but I might just push this pawn. It opens up the queen to defend this square as well. So that's the logic behind e5. I mean, whether it's a good move or not, I guess we will see, but it doesn't really feel that good currently. I mean, maybe I could have just taken on b2 and been up a pawn, but again, I'm not really sure. I kind of want to double stack on the d file as well. I wouldn't mind double stacking on the d file at all, actually. Yeah, I think I might play rook d7. Yeah, I'm going to go rook d7. I mean, obviously, if you go here, like, my bishop can just take. So although you're attacking my rook, it's not a threat currently. And yeah, double stacking on this open d file feels great. Like, if I can seize initiative of this d file, we could be in a pretty good spot, in all honesty. Yeah, I'm just going to continue with my idea of double stacking. Queen c6 potentially an option at some point, just to put some pressure on this diagonal, but I'm not inherently sure how good this looks. I think queen c6 does work. I mean, obviously there's discovered checks attacking my queen, but my queen is defended, so a queen trade is fine. There's no real issue there. And if you did give this check, actually, I just realised I'd just take with the queen. You guys are probably just screaming at me. I mean, it doesn't matter. I could take with the bishop. That's fine as well. But yeah, that discovered check does not work, fortunately for me. So now we can, you know, go through our cycle of checks, captures, and attacks. Do we have any checks? No. Any captures? We can capture this knight, but that just gives up a queen. So we capture this pawn, but again, just gives up a queen. So let's go through our attacks. I really like the idea of rook d3, just sort of dominating the third rank and just hitting the queen. And I don't see a better way to attack the queen. Like, queen's most valuable piece. Like, when you're looking at your attacks, always look at how you can attack the most valuable piece, right? It makes the most sense. So let's try to attack this queen. The queen is actually very limited in where it can move to. Like, we do a wonderful job at dominating so many squares. They just simply step back, which does make sense. It does make sense, of course. But now I'm thinking we have f5, and then the knight has to give up control of d2, which is interesting. f5 does look pretty good, because it also opens up the scope of our queen, right? I mean, obviously e5 is now very weak, but we got to take some risks, okay? I mean, Stockfish probably hates it, but I hate Stockfish, so we're equal. We're even here. It's a mutual hatred. Yeah, this is an interesting game of chess. um, I really wanted to go like bishop d6, but I don't think that would be an option because my rook would then be hanging, right? Um, oh, actually, we have interesting ideas. Actually, if you was to just go back, for example, I could just take this pawn, and then you can't take because my queen defends. So I think we should be good to pick up the c3 pawn. I think we've done well to win a pawn here. But I'm not sure. That's why you should always look for your attacks. Attack the most valuable piece. Okay. I think we're still good to win a pawn, actually. Because I take your knight, you recapture, and then I recapture, defending my pawn while also attacking two more pawns. So this just looks great, actually. Yeah, I'm really happy with this position. Hopefully, they move their rook over. And then I can go rook d2, for example, and set up a big attack on the f2 square. Okay, queen gives a check. That's interesting. I'm not sure what that's really doing for them. I'm just going to step up because there's no threat on this diagonal. Maybe now they try and pressure b7. Oh wow, they just fully like infiltrate. Hello there. That's slightly scary, I guess. But there's probably really no need to be scared. I mean, I could just completely offer a queen trade. Maybe I just offer a queen trade? Or I just pick up a pawn? Like, there's really no threat, I don't think. So I could probably just target some more pawns. Yeah, I don't see an issue with just taking another pawn. Like, the check on e7 does nothing. I just go up this way, right? I mean, I could probably just go up here. I don't think there's any repetition. You give a check, I can just go down. Maybe I can get in the corner? I don't know, actually. Is there a repetition? Maybe there's a repetition. Maybe I've just blundered a draw. Oh, I really hope not. Hang on. Let me draw some arrows to work this the hell out. I go down. You go up. I go in the corner. You go here. Oh my god. Maybe I've just blundered a draw. Oh no, maybe they just have checks. This is not good. Wait, no, I think when you give this check, I can run over here, actually. Potentially. Okay, they don't even bother. Damn it. Okay. Let's come down here. Because I cannot blunder a draw here. I mean, we're up 2 pawns, and our position looks fantastic. Huh. I'd love to just push this pawn and hang my queen, because I don't think they'd see it, but that would just be ridiculous. Let's drop our queen back now and offer a queen trade. I mean, okay, they do take it. Okay, we're just up 2 pawns now, which is great. Yeah, we should probably defend this pawn. So let's just step our rook up to d6 and c8, and then maybe we could even just start pushing it. Okay, they're going to target this. I don't really see that as the biggest issue in the world, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just going to push. They'll take, which is fine. But I am just going to keep pushing now. Okay, they go over to e7. I do have time, fortunately. This is a weird move because I can just push this pawn and then everything is defended, right? And you can't push this pawn anymore because my rook would take. You don't defend this square. If your rook comes over... Well, this is such a weird position, right? I'm just going to push. Now you don't have this. Just ruling out the rook from going to b2. I'm just going to step forwards again. I mean, we are just threatening rook d1. Takes. Yeah, okay. Maybe I get over here then. And this trade is fine, presumably. Then I pick up this pawn. We're still up a pawn. This has not been overly clean, though. I think this is just like a thematic draw. But fortunately, my opponent is very low on time. There's got to be a mate somewhere. Like, look at this king. If you step forwards, you're insane. What? How can that be okay? You know what I mean? Like, how on earth can that possibly be okay? I have a check, but then you just take. So I'm going to reinforce the f5 pawn and potentially threaten this check. Okay, that's no longer an option. Oh god, this is very scary. Look at both our kings. This is a very dangerous position. Wait. I think this is very bad for my opponent. Now you have to go back. Then I give a check. And do you have to go back again? Yeah, this looks very bad for my opponent, because look at my pawns expanding. This is very scary. They give a check. I'm not entirely sure it really matters, though. I can just step forwards, right? If you come in behind, I can just take this pawn now. Yeah, I'm not blundering any mate or anything. I'm absolutely fine. I'm very safe here. Let's push again. Wait. Well, that is unfortunately just checkmate, no? Beautiful. Oh my god, okay. Jesus Christ, that was a great win. That felt great. We are, of course, going to game review it. Okay, e4, d5. This is a Scandinavian. This is a mainline Scandinavian. I'm not going to bore you with all the theory. Queen f3 is a mistake. Oh, it wants knight c6. Huh. This looks scary to me, though, because of like the bishop coming over and pinning me. But so I just went for c6. It's a very normal move in the mainline Scandinavian. It's given us a miss, but just ignore the engine. Bishop d3, I drop back. I didn't want to take e6, knight e2, knight e7, short castles, bishop d4, b4, sorry, knight e4, I take, and this bishop looks very powerful. I go knight f6, and then I take, because it was just too dangerous to be kept alive, right? Shout out, well, Mace Windu and Palpatine say it, okay, sort of showing the similarities between the Sith and the Jedi, but that's a matter for another day. Queen takes on d3. Rook d8, felt logical. Bishop e7, best move. Queen g3, knight h5, I take, and then I felt comfortable shortcasting. It actually wants g6 here. I guess we played g6 at some point. Knight h5, g6, okay. Knight g3. It's a very equal game the whole way through here, isn't it? I mean, both me and my opponent playing very well. Knight e4, I take it all back. It wants queen b5. Oh my god, leave me alone. I was considering this, but I just thought it's the same idea, right? But this time I have pressure on f2. So that was my rationale. Queen f3, I had f5. Guys, I said to you I was considering the move f5 for so long. Like, you know when you just have like this innate feeling. But I play e5. Rook d7, I just wanted to double stack. Queen c6, queen e3, and rook d3. Okay, so yeah, we went for our big attack. Queen e2, f5, knight c5, I take. Queen a2 check, I just step up. Queen e6, queen c3. Yeah, see, I did hang a repetition. They could have just drawn the game, but they didn't. And then I drop back and the game goes on. Queen c... Blunder? Oh, because you can take on e5. Oh my god. I can't believe I missed that. Fortunately, they queen traded with me. And from here, it did get a bit dicey at one point. Like I said, it did kind of get into like a thematic draw position. Like here, this is just a draw with perfect play. And I did know that because, I've had this position so many times. Where were we? I actually have no idea. Let's say we were here. Yeah. I've had a similar position in a 4-on-3 on the king side so many times. Rook a3 check. I drop back. So I do have quite a bit of experience in these positions, but yeah, like I said, just... Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, I hung mate. Oh my god, I hung mate. Oh my god, f4 is so bad. F4 is so... That's so stupid. Oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky they took that. Oh my god, I'm so lucky. Oh my god, I'm so lucky. Guys, I'm gonna beg for your likes and subscriptions because I'm gonna need it to pay for my therapy to get over that. Oh my god. Oh, that was so bad. Oh, that was so bad. I didn't realise how bad that was. Well, I'm definitely not playing a third game. Guys, if you enjoyed, smash a like, subscribe. Oh my god, get out of here.